Hi guys, in this class we will discuss about MySQLi create command. So you know that in the previous class we discussed that we will cover different DDL commands. One of them is create command. So its syntax is that create command, create database name. If you want to create a database using create command, you have to type create lower or uppercase. It is a case insensitive. And database you have type, then you have to write database name, for example my test, school, hospital, so student. So these are name of database, you can write any here, and semicolon. And then another syntax is that, for example, if you want to create table after creating database, if you want to create a table, you have to type create and table, then you have to mention table name and parenthesis, then column name and its data type, and you have to specify its length, and then column 2 length, and up to n you can mention. And this is a end of your create command when you want to create a table. So if you want to run this command or query, to run this query in PHP using MySQL extension, we use MySQLi_query function. This MySQLi query function is used to run any query. Actually, this is a query. Query is a way to communicate with database. You can see that we are communicating with database, that create database, create table in this way, in this order, with this column, with this length. So this is a communication with database. Communication with database, we say that this is a query method. So to run any query, we use a function that is a MySQLi_query. Without this query, you cannot get any database, any table, any other on the basis of query. So another is a where MySQLi_query take two argument. One is connection variable, in which your connection variable information is stored. For example, server name, password, username, database name. Another is a query variable, because you have to pass also query. This query you have to pass here in a variable. So another is a, if you want to set any column as primary key, how you can do that in MySQLi. So same, create database name. This is the same as discussed, but when you want to create a table name, and for example this is a column name, and you say that this should be not null, and you have to mention just not null. Another is a column 2, column up to n you can mention. And for example, if you want to set any column as primary key, you have to type primary key, and in parenthesis you have to mention that column name. That column name will be considered a primary key, because every table should have a primary key. It is very necessary to access a data uniquely. So same, if you want to run any query, you have to use MySQLi_query. Now I open Visual Studio Code, and we will learn how you can create a database table using create command. In a Visual Studio Code, creating a new file and save this file in a folder. This is a chapter 2. Inside chapter 2, file is for the DDL commands, we will mention here, and for basic structure of HTML DDL commands. Here our PHP coding will be start. First of all, if you want to work with MySQL database, you have to make connection with that database. So this is a database related connection information. This information you need. So server name, username, user password, database name, and then what you have to do, also you have to connect. This is a method, so you can also check whether it is created or not. If created, you will get a message connection is created, otherwise a false message will be displayed. Now in this way you can see that we will create a database. For that reason you do not need to mention database parameter, because we will create a database now. For that reason what we have to do, we have to run that command. This is a query, create database. Here is a database name, for example student is a database name, and at the end semicolon, and store this query in a variable, for example q is the variable that store this query. So you can see that in double quotation you have to type create database and database name. You can also write in a uppercase or lowercase and database, create database and database name is student. It will work in lowercase also. Now what we have to do, this query is created. Now to run this query you need to use a method MySQLi query. This function is used to, so it take argument. One is connection variable in which connection is stored, and another is a query. Now when we open this file in browser, chapter 2 DDL commands, when you can see that connection is created, and it said that cannot create database student because already exist. It created. Now when I refresh PHP my admin, you know that in previous class when we create database manually, I show you, you can see that student is created. Student database is created. After creating student database, we have to create different table. For that reason, for your understanding, I want to create another database, for example with the name my student, and then when I refresh and then refresh this one, you will see that my student, you can see they created. Now another I want to tell you, for example Joffrey, and then refresh this file and refresh database backend Joffrey. You can see that Joffrey is created. Now I will work with a school database and also set that variable database and equal to school, because I want to connect with school database. Now what I have to do, I have to create table in that school database. For that reason I have to run query create table name, for example inside student, sorry, not school. Our database name is student and table name is std info. Create table name is student info std underscore info, and then what we have to do, we have to define some attributes. Column name, first of all column name is std id, and its data type should be id, and length of that id should be 10. So I say that this should be not null, and then std name, and its data type should be varchar, means alphanumeric. You can also mention in this type, and its length should be 100. And just I copy student, further student city, student marks, this should be int, and its length should be 50 up to 50 number you can insert. Now another is a, for example student Status will be pass or fail. Water, it should be 5, 10. So you can see that different field name I created with database and their length of character. What I have to do, I have to run this query. First of all, I have to store this query in a variable query underscore std info. Now replace this one. What I have to do, I have to just refresh this file, say that already created. Now I have to hide this one because it is created already. And error in your SQL statics. Sorry, put a comma, then refresh again. Error is that this is the error. Remove this id, and here is int. Int is a data type, id is not data type. Now open the browser, refresh this one, remove this comma, refresh. You can see that error is removed. When refresh localhost, you can see the table is created. Click on this table and click structure. All the column created in database as student id, name, author, and with their data type and specifying their length. Now another is we want to set any column as primary key. Primary key is very necessary in any table. Primary key is used to define or get uniquely record from table. For that reason, what you have to do, you have to first I want to drop this table, and I will write here primary key, and this column std underscore id, this column should be a primary key for this table. When I refresh this one, table is created. Click on its structure. You can see that all the columns are created, and you can see that there is a key. It means that student id column work as primary key, so its value will be unique and not null, and this work as primary key because every table should have a primary key that is used to define uniquely record from the table. So in this class we learn how you can create a database and table. Inside table, creating different fields with their data type and specifying their length, and also set any column as primary key. So different commands related to DL we will cover in next class.